Today capitalism is dying, and we must save it. We must abandon the ruling role of United States in modern capitalism. United States as the center of capitalism, of this complex world system, is failing. It's not failing because it's bad or, I don't know, it's done something wrong. No, vice versa. Capitalism worked that way always, and it's working just as it's supposed to work. We are in the deep crisis, which going to end with either collapse of capitalism as a whole or a restart of capitalism. So we must save capitalism. We, capitalists, small business, medium-sized businesses, must abandon the leading role of United States, who today do nothing but robbing the people from other countries, including European Union, including third world countries. They simply stolen their money, resources, etc. The rich people in United States simply just keeping more and more money in their pockets, and they do not develop economies. They do not allow economies to grow up because they keep the money, they accumulate and keep it for good. They don't know what to do with that. There is a bunch of financial instruments that they're investing, but those instruments mean absolutely nothing because no one can repay them, pay them back. So today's role of United States as a superpower, as a center of the capitalist world, must be abandoned. We must save ourselves. We must destroy USA role in the world as hegemon. And to replace it, we of course must go to the China, the biggest market in the world, the biggest consumer market in the world after collapse, after restart, after reset. The China is supposed to become new USA, the new biggest market in the world, where everybody going to supply their with cheap workforce, good cheap products, etc., including maybe USA. But USA is supposed to be cut off from the world's economy altogether. USA can exploit Latin America all they want, but we must not include USA in tomorrow's economy. We must cut it off to save capitalism as a system. As capitalist, I care about only one thing and this thing only. I want to save capitalism. I want it to survive for much longer, at least for my lifetime. That's my most serious point. And you guys who today thinking that USA is socialist or we live in socialist world and this is not real capitalism, but over there somewhere ahead of us we need just abandon the government, the corruption, the Jews or something else, and capitalism will shine and rise. It will not. By denying reality, you not helping save capitalism. You not ready to admit its flaws. You don't ready to admit what mistakes were made and what's supposed to be done to save capitalism overall. All you do is protecting your noble rights to enslave all the people in the world and live off of them, just as your rich people doing. Only rich people, American rich people, United States rich, they gain all the money, and you get this, I don't know how they called the rest, just small salaries, lower standards of living, millions of unemployed, poor people living just above the poverty, etc. That's all you get. It's capitalism. It's how it's working, and you must understand how it works to fight with it, to fight for your ability to survive in this world. If you consider yourself a capitalist, if you think that capitalism is the best system of the world, you have to admit its problems to solve them. At least, I don't know how to say it in English, but reduce those problems. Reduce how those problems affect capitalism overall. It's the nature of capitalism. It's how it works. It's how it worked from the beginning, and it works like that until this day. Nothing changed since 15th century or, I don't know, 16th maybe century, where capitalism first arose. And you must understand what the problem is, how to solve this problem, how to save capitalism, how to restart in order that you still get your standard of living, not like turn United States into a third world country. It's ridiculous. What you're doing today, you're not helping. You're not trying to save capitalism. You're trying to save the assets of the rich people in United States and in Europe at some sort, but mostly in United States. Extremely rich people who live today in United States. The most rich people live in USA. The most rich corporations live in registered in USA. If it's not in USA, then it's ex-USA countries, or USA corporations, etc. It doesn't matter. Americans steal the wealth from the world and accumulate it, but you cannot accumulate it until forever. One day the bubble will burst if you will not reduce the problem. And this problem is that today's capitalism in its ending stage, it's trying to die, just like it was in 1900s. In 1900s, the First World War was to reshape the world and to give more to Germany and took away the, how to say it, the power or control from the hands of superpowers like British Empire. It failed. It failed once, and it failed even in second time when the Germany was occupied by fascists and tried to reshape the world in best interest of national capital. It failed again, and out of it came United States with this position of hegemon of the superpower that exists somewhere overseas, and it's very hard to reach the country that was not affected by the war whatsoever, etc., etc. But that's all. We restarted it. We reshaped the markets. But even it ends in 1973. Since then, all growth came from markets, or how to say it, stock market, financial instruments, etc. From growing the national debts. We grow national debts, and countries showing that its GDP grows. So corporations get profits, people get work, some of the work, better or worse, it doesn't matter. And in the end, we all living in shitty conditions, but rich getting richer with every day. It is the nature of capitalism. It's not fair, it's not good for all the workers in the world, etc., etc. It doesn't matter. I get used to capitalism. I want to live in capitalism, and I want to die in capitalism. I don't want any communism in my lifetime, even though I think that communism is better for the working people. But today we have this important mission to save capitalism. We must not establish socialism or create communist society or something else. I don't care about it. I will work for that. I will enlighten people how socialism is better for majority of the people, or communism is better for the working people, working class overall. It is better, indeed better, but it does not matter. Today we must save and restart capitalism, so it works for us, for common people again. We need to save capitalism. It's most important job for us today, until we will not solve all the problems. And you guys who denying that this is capitalism, this is how it works, this is how it's supposed to be, and this crisis is not caused by some socialist, communist, or I don't know, indoctrination or involvement of some commies in the government, etc. By saying this, you denying the problems that you need to solve today. We need to solve today problems of capitalism, not some imaginary communism that never came in your countries, never existed in your countries. And being stupid idiot that working for the better of the rich people and corporations that you allegedly hate, that you allegedly fight against, but in reality you defend in their best interest, so they get rich with every day even more and accumulate even more of your money that can be put in the economy and produce real growth in the economy. You're not forcing them to do that. They simply accumulate this money, and this money goes nowhere. We have major deaths. And if we will not solve this problem, if we will not restart the capitalism today, we screw, we fucked. We will get multiple revolutions of people, of working people who already get enough, who already starving today, who can't find decent jobs, who can't find any job sometimes, who live in shitty conditions. The rich going to win one day if we will not do something to save capitalism today. This problem is solvable. All we need is abandon old capital, destroy it, ignore it, and mostly American capital. It doesn't matter how you as American feel about it. It doesn't matter what you think about it. It absolutely does not matter. What matters for you is your personal survival. As egoist, as capitalist, as normal American citizen, you must think about your own personal ass. That's what we have to do. We must abandon American capital altogether. American corporations, rich people, Tesla, I don't know, General Motors, General Electric, doesn't matter what corporation you will count. American government, NASA, etc. We must abandon them altogether. Let them die off inside their country. They want to close their borders for other corporations, for other markets. Cool. Let's close. Let's allow them. Let them close the markets altogether. Let's have no deals with them. Let's make China or India the next biggest consumer. We can't make India the next biggest consumer because of caste system, but we can make China the biggest market in the world, as biggest consumer in the world. The country, the next USA, who will accumulate the next amount of wealth, and at least 20-30 years we can survive in this new capitalism, new reborn, restarted capitalism. Some goods will be produced in China still, but some goods will be produced in Africa, or I don't know, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, somewhere in Asia. We can make it work. All we need is ignore USA, abandon it. That's what we need. American capital must die, so the capitalism survive. And if you once again will tell me that it's all socialist or communist, you're not helping to save it. You're just doing the bad job to save your own life, your own standard of life, your own standard of living, your ability to work, and your ability to live the life that you used to live. You're doing a bad job in saving capitalism by denying its problems. We must not deny the problems. We must solve the problems. You must understand it. And when we're going to solve the problems of today's capitalism, we can restart it. We can reshape the world again like it was after the World War II. And we don't need no war for that. We can do it peacefully. But if you want, please do. Start another war, start another world war. Let the millions or tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions people die in the fire of wars, and maybe it will be you who are going to die in this war. To reshape the world again in interest of corporations and all capital, rich people of yesterday. We must fight for our future, for future of our children. We must save capitalism. At least that's what my goal is. Another 20, 30 years we have this time to come up with something better. Maybe communism, maybe socialism, maybe. Maybe someday the twich will win. But if we will start a world war, the probability that socialist revolutions will start all over the world is very, very high. Because working people already get enough of this shit. Already get enough of this exploitation by United States and European countries who want to live off of the third world countries. This is total bullshit. And one day it's going to blow, explode, and another socialist revolution start to happen all over the world. All of a sudden, the old capital who don't want to accept, who don't want to understand the problems of the system, who only want to get richer and richer with every day, they will not help in any shape or form. We, the lower classes, the middle class, the working people, small business, mid-sized businesses, we must do our part. And if we need, we must force them to do so. I'm talking to China, mostly to China. China is our savior, the next best market, the next biggest market in the world, who took all the responsibilities of United States, who was the biggest consumer market in the world, who consumed every cheap goods that were produced in the world and make profits for its corporations. But from those profits, you also get your share. Higher salaries, higher standard of life, etc., etc., etc. But today, no more. United States capital can't do this job. We see that the last 14 years, they're trying to come up with some idea and can't come up with any idea except, well, let's raise the debt again. Yes, we will have to raise the debt again, of course, but let's start it from the zero. Let's start it from the scratch. Give us another 20, 30 years to develop the new capitalism. With or without the war, it's going to happen. The only question is, in whose interest this is going to happen? In the interest of old capital, European and American, or in the interest of the smaller businesses or newborn businesses, of businesses who today developing and creating ideas, and mid-sized businesses maybe even strong business, but new kind of business who understand the problems of capitalism, who can solve them, at least who can address the problems of capitalism. We must save capitalism. And to do so, first of all, we need to cut off the heart of it, cut off the head of this old, rusty, dying capitalism, United States of America. That's what we need to do first.